this new U.S. warning of provocation. Tonight to talk about it, Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at the CIA and the Pentagon, also former chief counsel to House Intel. Jeremy, we talked about this in real time on the broadcast last night. None of us, and Andy Card was here, former Bush chief of staff, none of us had quite seen anything like this. This is the consequences of when the world gets serious, needing to communicate seriously as a White House, as a country. What did you make of it, and how perhaps it had been born?
Yeah, here's what I think happened on Monday morning, probably in the president's daily briefing binder. There was imagery intelligence, satellite photography probably, of an aircraft of the Assad regime in a hangar with munitions being loaded into that hangar, and our spy satellites probably could not tell exactly what was happening under that hangar. And so the assumption was made, an analytic call was made by the CIA that they were potentially going to engage in another chemical weapons attack. So I think it was productive, and it was important for the United States to make a forceful deterrence statement to the Assad regime that if you conduct another attack, we're going to act. What I thought was extraordinary, however, was that the statement went so much further, Brian. Basically what it said is, you're going to pay a heavy price, which to me means attacks against regime elements, command and control headquarters, military elements of the Assad regime. That's more than one airfield, and that's not something we can do just from tomahawks off of a Navy vessel. We have to put pilots in the skies above Syria, and to do that, Brian, we would basically have to push Russia out of the way. And I don't think that the White House is willing to do it. I think the White House is unwilling to cross Russia's red line with respect to Syria.
Given the preoccupation in this White House with their predecessors, isn't it important to note that red lines, especially in that country, can be a tricky business?
Absolutely, and I think this current administration has been attuned to the history with President Obama effectively declaring a red line, and I do have to say that when they conducted the operation in April, it was proportionate, it was limited, it was 59 cruise missiles off the USS Porter and the USS Ross, but here we have now a statement by the administration that they're basically planning a much broader military operation against Syria. And ostensibly our purpose in Syria, as stated by the administration, is to take on ISIS. But what we have seen is that Syria continuously gets in the way of it. Their fighters have been firing on these forces on the ground that we've been funding and training, that have been basically our ground force against ISIS. And I believe that at the end of the day, if we're really going to have a defeat of ISIS in Syria, we're going to have to take on the Assad regime more forcefully. Again, I come back to this point, Brian. It's going to require very tough action vis-a-vis Russia, and I'm not sure this team is up for it.
Do you think we just pledged or signed up to try to stop every future chemical attack in a place that has seen already way too many of them, obviously?
I do, because one of the key points of the earlier attack in April that we conducted was to reestablish deterrence, and to basically say that if they go to that step, we're going to hit them. So if they go to that step and we don't hit them, then I think our deterrence has slipped, and I think our strategic goals kind of evaporate.
Jeremy Bash, always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast.
Thanks, Brian.
We wanted to talk to you the minute we read that memo last night. Thanks for being